Thousands of refugees are fleeing Ethiopia's Tigray region to seek safety in eastern Sudan. We haven't seen an influx of this scale in this part of the country in at least 20 years. More than 27,000 men, women, and children have fled across the border at a rate of 4,000 per day since November 10th. Refugees are arriving scared, exhausted, with little more than the clothes on their backs. UNHCR and its partners are supporting the Sudanese government in its response, coming together to ramp up humanitarian assistance. But the numbers and the needs are growing. It's a race against time as a full-scale humanitarian crisis unfolds.
Hello, hello. Welcome to GMA Talk, your most beloved, your most awesome talk show right here on YouTube channel GMA Talk with your host, yours truly, Gerard Mutabazi Amani. Thank you very much for joining on this week's episode. If you haven't taken a look of last week's episode, please take a look on what is happening in Ethiopia, as some of that will also come up for this week's episode, because this week we are talking about resettlement numbers of refugees being at the lowest in about 2 decades, or going into about to be the lowest in about 2 decades, according to the UNHCR. So, refugee resettlement is one of the solutions to addressing the refugees' displacement and refugees fleeing their homes as a result of conflicts persisting around the world. So most of the time, the solutions are repatriation, which means people going back home, or indeed, and another one is integration in the community which the refugees are in, and if that's not possible, also is in terms of resettlement to a third country that is willing to take in the refugees. So the first solution really of repatriation, even though there are stories of refugees willingly return to the countries of origin when situations have come down, but most of the time repatriation is often an impossible solution, because conflicts or people's lives continuously to be in danger, and that's why they left in the first place. So one of the solution that most of the refugee rely or depend on is resettlement into a third country. Now this year, because of COVID-19, the pandemic ongoing, and countries shutting down their borders and flying really at a standstill, refugee resettlement has been almost going to the lowest in about 2 decades. According to the UNHCR, between January and September, just a little bit over 15,000 refugees were resettled around the world. And to the same number, like between January and September, it was last time the numbers were about 50,000 refugees by that same time period. So imagine this year a little over 15,000 having been resettled, but to the same time frame it was over 50,000. So this lot of lives depends on resettlement, a lot of safety depend on the settlement, a lot of dreams, goals, visions depend on resettlement, and this is what coronavirus COVID-19 is affecting this year in terms of refugee resettlement around the world. And on the other hand, if you look, the conflicts really still persisting, conflicts really still waging. around the world, new conflicts breaking out, old conflicts not showing any sign to stop soon. So there's a lot of things which are hindering people not to go back into the hometown, and sometimes even the country that they are in. The situation and in terms of life, education, healthcare, employment, documentation, there's a lot of things which really refugee faces in the current host countries that really either cannot allow them to have established themselves as in a life for the family and everybody, for themselves also, because either of the documentation or not allowed for any opportunities otherwise in the country. So this is something to be aware of. This is something to really keep in mind as we are seeing in the world. Conflicts are continually breaking, and one of the conflicts that I want to cover again on this episode is what is happening in Ethiopia with the federal government armies fighting against the armies in Tigray region, which is a result of over 43,000 Ethiopian fleeing to Sudan, being a refugee as a result of. So many people need humanitarian assistance within the Tigray region, but the conflict is waging. Humanitarian organization UNHCR and partners and UN want the government and the Tigray regional forces and the regional leaders to really come to dialogue, come to discussions, but so far nothing seems to be working. So please watch these following two videos on the situations and what happening in Ethiopia, and continuously learn yourself and inform about what is happening in the region, and really whether it's on social media, whether it's called to government to actions, supporting organizations which are helping people in the region. So your love, show your support, show your care, love, peace and unity. Watch this video, and from me, see you next time right here on GMA Talk. Here goes the video.
راجل يوانو مشان ما بعرف أنا هسي كم سيوم بفتش بس ما قال ألقيه أنا ما بعرف أنا لحد هسي ما جبنا شر ما أنا قرش إن شاء الله، لكن أنا بقول يا رب العالمين تقرأ بس ما بيقول ما يتقاتل عليك الله. في السودان شفت كم سنة اشتغلنا حاجاتنا كلنا جينا هناك، ولا واحد ما جبنا، ولا شفت كده بس جينا هنا.